All right, everyone. How are we doing? It's Tuesday. It's April 1st, April Fool's Day. And I'm beginning to think maybe that's the way, maybe that's the theme of this whole year. I'm beginning to think that may be it. It's an April Fool's year. Because I tell you, before we get into everything else, and there's a lot going on, not really politically right now, but some other things. So I wanted to talk about something that's on my mind, and that is, I know you're probably familiar with Taylor Sheridan, the I guess he's actor, producer, writer, several things, several really fairly good shows. And the biggest one is Yellowstone, and I had never heard of the guy until Yellowstone came along. I didn't know he acted in. He was an actor in what is it? Sons of Anarchy. I didn't know he played a part in that, but I wasn't a big fan of Sons of Anarchy, so there you go. Never really got that. Never really got why I would be. I would be rooting for these people, these bikers. I never did get that whole thing, but yeah, that's just me. I don't know. I know it's just entertainment and that, but it just seemed kind of counterintuitive. You know what I mean? Although I did like Breaking Bad, and it was basically the same thing. It was rooting for methamphetamine dealers, but I don't know. It seemed to have a little bit different twist to it. So anyway, point is, he's done several since then. There's some prequels and some sequels and that kind of thing to Yellowstone. One was 1883, which I watched the entire series, and I got to tell you, it was okay. It was nothing to write home about. I mean, it kind of gave you an idea of the history of the show and the history of the Dutton family, but it was boring. I got to admit, I sat there many times looking at my watch, and anytime I'm at either a show or anything, and I'm looking at my watch, I'm not being entertained. You know that as well as I do, and I'm one of them. And I'm not proud of this, but I'm the kind of person who, if I don't like the movie, I get up and leave. I do. Now, does that make me smarter than anybody else or better than anybody else? Of course not. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. It's just who I am. I feel, even if I've paid for it, I'm not going to go back and ask for my money back or anything like that. I'm not a dick about it. It's just, if it's not good, I figure I got other things to do and I'm going to leave. So I've done that many times. Ask my kids, I'll tell you. We've gotten up and walked out of many shows, and they'll tell you. But anyway, the one that's on right now is 1923. It has Harrison Ford in it, and it is the sequel to 1883. And I've been watching it. I think it's 12 episodes now, and or it's 11. I think 12 is the last one. I think that's coming up this weekend. And I got to tell you, it's worse than 1883. And the Sheridan, he's let's put it this way. I don't know how much more I can stand of watching cowboys ride horses. Okay, we spend a lot of time on cowboys riding horses. I understand he's a cowboy. I understand that. I have no problem with that. But that doesn't really contribute to the story very well, as far as I'm concerned. And we draw out things that absolutely had no business being in it. I don't know what he's doing. It's not very good. 1923 is not very good in my book. We're spending a lot of time on sexual abuse in the show. Don't care for that. Raping, we like that. We spend entire. If you haven't seen it, don't. Is my advice. If you haven't seen it, don't. Just read about it. It'll make much more sense. And you believe me, you wouldn't be wasting your time. So anyway, I don't know what he thinks he's doing. He's had some really good shows. Let's see here. Taylor Sheridan. Yeah, he's written. Well, The Mayor of Kingston. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It sucks. Tulsa King's not too bad with Sylvester Stallone. Enjoyed that one. Lioness, couldn't care less. You're trying to tell me that there's from what I understand, it's a woman Bourne, I guess, Jason Bourne, the Bourne Identity. I'm not buying that. No, thank you. I don't get that. I don't believe that. That's fantasy. I'm sorry, it just is. And then Landman with Billy Bob Thornton about the oil industry. Now that's a pretty good show, I got to admit. But I think the reason it's a good show is because Billy Bob Thornton is a very good actor, and his part is the one that I really enjoy. Some of the other actors in it, it's not really good. They brought in people. I don't know if they got them on a deal. I mean, if they came in a set, I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, just had to get that off my chest because I watched it. I think it was last night or night before last, and I'll be glad when this one's over. 1923. So, and on that, in that same vein, in that same thing, I wanted to talk about Rachel Ziegler, I guess it is, the 23-year-old who was star of the remake, or I guess the live action Snow White. Apparently that movie has bombed tremendously. The ticket sales are absolutely non-existent. I think it cost $250 million to make, and I think they've made 45 million worldwide, I think is what they said. That's horrible. And I don't know anything about the show business or anything, but when you can't recoup your investment, I know enough to know that that's not a good thing. And they actually delayed the release of that movie because she'd shot her mouth off about a year ago. She was showing how woke she was and how progressive, and you're 23 years old, honey. You're 23 years old. You look like an anorexic scarecrow. You really do. You're not very pretty. Your eyes are too far apart. I don't know if you've ever seen her. I think she's Mexican, but not that matters. A lot of Mexican women are gorgeous, but this woman's not pretty. She's not pretty. She wants you to believe she is, but she's got no chest. She's got no butt. And her arms are about as big around as quarters. It's kind of gross. It really is. It makes me feel sorry for her because she's 23. I mean, look at it. I've got shoes older than that. Okay. So she doesn't know anything. She's just a child. And she's been put in this position to be the star and the spokesperson for a huge company, Disney, which owns just damn near everything. And they've gotten poked right in the eye by this. They really have. I think they've basically just taken her, tried to keep her out of the limelight, because anytime she gets in front of a camera, she'll say something stupid, and it costs them money. And I think they've just about had enough of her. It's unfortunate too. I don't know how good an actress she is, but she had some really disparaging things to say about the 1937 rendition of Snow White. She basically said that this woman, the character that was, in the cartoon, was, I guess, a battered wife for the most part, and was being stalked by the prince. And in this version, that wasn't what was going to be done. She was going to be a strong, independent woman. And don't you get tired of hearing that? There's nothing wrong with being strong and independent, but come on, we all know there are certain lanes that people need to stay in. And what's wrong with a good romantic cartoon? What's wrong with that? It's aged pretty well, as far as I'm concerned. 1937, that's almost 100 years ago, and they didn't want to use dwarfs, so they got in trouble with that community because they didn't want to, and they CGI'd them. It's kind of sad. It really is, and it brings me to my next point. I don't think Rachel Ziegler is going to work in the industry ever again. You may actually see her working maybe at a McDonald's. I don't know what they paid her for this. She'll probably be all right, but I don't think she's going to get much more work because you can't trust her to keep her mouth shut. And right now in this country right now, we're starting to make a turn where comedy is coming back. We're making fun of each other. Comedy is starting to point out the absurdities in life on both sides for that matter. But we're finally getting to a point where we can make fun of one another again. And I think that's great. I think it's healthy. There are absurdities on both sides. We're pretty divided again, but I mean, there's absurdities on both sides. I mean, if you want to go to an extreme on both sides, I'm not a party to that at all. I don't know about you. I mean, I'm in the middle somewhere. I want my family to do fine. I want everybody else's family to do fine. I do not want to take a side and dig my heels in. It makes no sense. And I got to admit, I got to tell you, folks, and it's something that's been bothering me for, oh my gosh, I guess ever since 2016. And I know that it's a direct result of Donald Trump being elected, but I'm beginning to think that we need to bring back insane asylums again. I think we should take part of this Doge money and start building large insane asylums, not prisons per se, but there's some serious mental illness in this country right now. It's at a level that I guess I've never seen. Not people will argue that it's always been like this. It just so happens that the internet gives people who are crazy a voice, and that may be accurate. But there are days when I see people post things on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, True Social. Okay, I've never been on Blue Sky. I don't even know what that is. I think that kind of went bye-bye, didn't it? I don't think that's even a thing anymore. Maybe it is. I mean, that was a place where Rob Reiner and all the lefties were going to go, and it was going to be a wonderful place. Well, apparently it wasn't real good because they're all back to X now. And now this is just me, so I want to make sure that I'm clear about that. I'm not trying to paint with a real wide brush, but there are people out there, and I don't know any. Should I say that? Do I know any? Yeah, I guess I do know some personally, but it seems like right now people are really lost. They're drifting aimlessly. You see it on Twitter. I mean, these people who are claiming they're a different sex. You know what I'm talking about? The transitional crowd. Which I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, that was unheard of. Well, I mean, when I was in high school back in the 70s, there were people out there that you knew were probably a little light in the loafers. I mean, you knew that. But now it's become pride. There's some kind of a pride involved in it. Parents talking about they're proud that their children have transitioned and all this. Folks, I don't know how. For the love of God, I don't know how people like that, how did they get to this position in life? How did they survive this? How did they survive the rest of their life and not get run over by a car or any number of things? If you make decisions like this and you see the world this way, your life is actually in danger a lot. I mean, these people would never last on the Serengeti. My God, they'd be eaten in the first couple of hours. They're so weak. I see the men today. These young men at these rallies, especially the Tesla rallies, which absolutely make no sense to me. I don't understand how anybody could think that keying a Tesla in public is somehow going to affect Elon Musk. I mean, maybe you can explain that to me. How does damaging property that first of all has already been bought, and secondly isn't yours? I mean, you want to buy a Tesla and go out and blow it up, set it on fire. I got no problem with that. You be my guest. I don't care. But I don't understand why you think that me going out and keying a car in a parking lot is somehow going to affect Elon Musk's life and change his business model and prove that he's a Nazi, which I don't know where they've made quite a jump there. It's amazing how, to me, it's amazing how we always jump to the Nazi thing. And then when we actually have real Nazis, nobody says a word. Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange? Elon Musk is a Nazi. Donald Trump is a Nazi. J.D. Vance is a Nazi. Anyone in his administration is a Nazi. We love using that word. And what's funny is we don't even know what that word means. They don't. They don't. They call him Hitler. And I don't understand how you get the Hitler out of that, because Hitler was a socialist, but that's beside the point. I guess evil is what they're getting at, that they're evil. My question is this: why is Elon Musk evil? What did he do? 3 years ago, he was a Democrat. He was the second coming of Christ himself. If you asked a typical lefty, I mean, they'll tell you that he was going to take us to Mars. He's going to revolutionize the world with his electric vehicles. He's going to make a phone, a Tesla phone, that's going to be better than anybody else's. And believe me, I'm no fan of his. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. I've said all along, the guy's a con man. He's done quite well for himself. He's richest man in the world. I mean, it's hard to beat that. But I don't understand the Nazi part. And I don't understand this turn. And it all falls back. It all goes back to Donald Trump. Of course, it all goes back to him. We, as a society, are split into basically two pieces. One hates Donald Trump with a passion, wishes he was dead. The other one loves Donald Trump. I have no problem with him. I think he's great. I mean, I was a Democrat for years. I can't see this side of it, though. I really can't. I mean, you go back to keying these automobiles. What do you think you're accomplishing there? I mean, at the end of the day, when you attack these vehicles and you blow them up and you throw fire, you throw Molotov cocktails at them and stuff like that, these people are going to go to jail for 20 years. Was it really worth it? Elon Musk with Doge is basically figuring out and pulling back the curtain on the corruption that's been going on for decades, if not longer, in the federal government. That's all he's doing. He's pointing to things. He's going, hey, this is no good. We can't do this. You're wasting money. You're corrupt. But no, they don't see it that way. They see it as a Nazi. It's kind of like I liken it to a battered wife. Okay? Someone who, I guess, how do I put this? I don't want to sound too crude, but a battered wife, I guess, is probably the best explanation of it. They just keep going back, even though someone does things wrong. It's kind of like this tariff situation that Donald Trump has put in force. These tariffs on these other countries that were basically screwing us over and have been for years. So you're supposed to just take that forever? I mean, I feel like we're a battered country, kind of like a battered wife. I guess that's the analogy I was looking for. We're a battered spouse. It doesn't have to be a woman either. It can be a man. Point is, though, you keep going back. Your friends, your family say, hey, you need to leave. Leave this person. Don't be around him. Nothing good can come from this. He's done it before. He'll do it again. Whatever. The point is, they'll say, no, he or she loves me and it'll all be fine. I feel the same way. I feel America is a battered country. We've been abused and treated like crap for decades by Canada, for sure, Mexico, China. I mean, you try to sell a car in the, now mind you, here's the thing that's a killer. Canada, let's use that as an example. Canada has, I think, 25% tariffs on vehicles coming in. Let's just say they got 25%. I think it's something like that. I know they got it on milk, but let's just use cars right now. So you got a 25% tax tariff on a car that comes into Canada to be sold. But they make the cars, a lot of the cars they make. So they come to the United States and then we send them back to Canada. Now, mind you, this is a car that somebody was working at the plant that made this car now has to pay 25% more for a particular vehicle because Canada's tacking on this 25% tariff. But when we bring them in, we don't charge them anything. That sounds like a battered spouse, doesn't it to you? And the thing is, they're telling us that we're the ones that are being unfair. It's kind of like projection. You point out to your husband or your wife that they're doing A, B, or C, and they say, "Well, no, you're doing that. You're doing that. You should be the one that feels bad." It's unbelievable. It really is. And then back to Elon Musk, we're giving him a hard time for pointing out the fact that we're getting screwed over constantly. What is this? It's mental illness. It's that simple. There's no other way to look at it. People have either been programmed to, no matter what it is, if Donald Trump says it, it's wrong, even if it makes sense. You know, people, and I know this can't be all of these people. I'm sure that is along the way somewhere they're going, this is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever done, but I gotta go because I'm a Democrat. I'm a progressive. I have to go. I think it's stupid, but I gotta go. And eventually it becomes part of your life. I've seen these protests. Here's another one. These people that lay down on the roads and block traffic. Folks, I think this needs to end. I really do. And the only way to get it to end is a show of force. And the only show of force you can have is just to run them over. And I know that's a terrible thing to say. But if they know that they're going to get run over, they won't do that. When's the last time you went out and walked on 270 in the middle of the day? Have you ever done that? That's a suicide mission, right? You would be crazy to do that. You would be out of your mind to walk, let's say, where would be a good spot? Let's say Manchester Road, the crossroads of Manchester and 270. Now, that 270 is an interstate that runs north to south. Manchester runs east to west. Now, let's just say we pull over. We got 150 people, and we're going to go out and we're going to try and block traffic on a 5-lane highway. You got to be stupid just to even think about that. But they're doing it. They're doing it because normal people are not going to run them over. They're not. And they're sitting down and they're blocking traffic for thousands of people. And I'm not saying they're doing it at 270 right now. What I'm saying is around the world they're doing this. And it's usually the oil people, the anti-oil people, which I think is hilarious because they obviously don't know how the world works. Oil's and everything. I mean, if you want to go back to living like it's 1883, like the show, if you want to go back to living like that, okay, we can probably get away with very little oil. But I don't want to live like that. I like my car. I like my air conditioning. I like electricity. I like all that stuff. These people seem to think that you and I are not smart enough to understand how this works. But we are. Are there sacrifices that are made when it comes to the use of fossil fuels? I think to some degree. I'd be lying to you if I didn't think that it probably has something to do. We do affect the environment at some level. But is it to the level that they want you to believe that the end of the world's coming in a few years? Nah, nope. a good volcano erupting will do more damage than all of humanity. It really will. Ask the dinosaurs. They'll tell you. So it's people like that I think probably need a place to go. I think at the end of the day, we need more insane asylums. We need a lot of people that are arrested, turn around, are released, and nothing has changed. I see it all the time. I watch these shows, locked up, actual counties in the United States. I think one of them is in Las Vegas, and they go in there and see the people that are brought in on a given night, arrested, and then charged, and then normally released with bond. Which I never had understood that one either. Then why even arrest them then? Just get them out of there and just turn them loose. Turn them loose like you would an animal or something. I don't understand why put them through this process if you're not going to hang on to them. But that's not how they do it. That's not how they do it anymore. Your signature bond. You say, well, I'll be here in 2 weeks. And if I don't, I'll owe $500. Well, most of them don't ever come back. And then and then they'll get arrested again because there's a warrant out for their arrest. It's stupid. It's a stupid system. If you're not gonna hang on to them and solve their problems, especially the mental problems, because most of these people that you see on these shows are mentally ill. It's either been caused by drugs, or booze, or abuse. I understand that. Sometimes it's a chemical imbalance, but we don't do anything about it. We don't even put a Band-Aid on it. We bring them in and we wipe the blood off, then we send them back out into the street. That's it. It's kind of sad. It really is. These people are habitual offenders. But I think personally, we should have more insane asylums. We should put more of an emphasis on mental illness and back off on not so much the drug trafficking, but it's kind of like when you legalize drugs. I have no problem with legalized drugs as long as you put money into rehabilitation. That's what you got to do. Someone who wants to get off drugs can go somewhere. I mean, as it stands right now, going to a rehab facility, you either have to be extremely rich, or it has to be court ordered. To just go to a rehab facility today, it's going to cost you. I mean, you may have insurance, depending on if you have a job or if you've lost it. Well, you're screwed. You're screwed, and I think that's a bad idea. Because these people are raising children, or their children are with someone else now because they can't handle them, and it becomes generational then. Kind of like the welfare system does. Well, grandma used to get food stamps and mom does. Now I will, that kind of thing. God forbid we go out and improve ourselves so we don't have to get food stamps and WIC and, any kind of assistance. But we don't want to do that. We want to take advantage of the system. And it's been like that for a long time. And now these people are becoming a draw in society. And what do we do? We'll blame the messenger. That's what we do. If someone heard this, and I was in a conversation, and someone overheard this, I would probably people would not be happy with what I just said. They wouldn't. It's not that I don't have sympathy for people who are mentally ill. Mental illness has been in my family. So has alcoholism, and you go down the list, drug abuse. I mean, everyone's family has addressed this at some point or another. And the only way it gets solved is through rehabilitation. You have to have someone there, a place to take these people. Well, back in the 70s and 80s, there was a place in New York City called Bellevue. That's where you took the whack jobs. The cops did. Send them to Bellevue. That's what they did. But then we just did away with that. We basically threw everybody out of the facilities because we wanted to save money. drugged him up, gave him a few prescriptions, and said, bye, good luck. Well, and then what happens? What happens? What always happens? People turn to, nefarious things, robbery, prostitution, you name it, selling drugs. So you've got a guy right now, in Donald Trump, who's trying to solve some of this stuff. And believe me, it's only been a little over 2 months. So I want everybody to just chill out a little bit. I've seen so many posts about the Epstein list. Why hasn't, and I agree with this, why hasn't anyone been arrested? I will say that. I'll give you that one. I want somebody to be arrested. But you don't turn an ocean liner like this around in a few days. You just don't. It can't be done. Things are so screwed up, it's going to take a while. So be patient. I think we're on the right track. I do. We've got a guy in office right now who is probably one of the best I've seen. And it seems like, and I don't know about you, but every time I see him, he looks like he got younger. What is this? Is this the Benjamin Button show, or what the hell's going on here? I saw him leaving the White House the other day, going to a vehicle. I think it was a vehicle. He was huffing it. He was hoofing it. And I mean, he's lost weight. I mean, it's unbelievable. He thrives on this stuff. He really does. You remember what George Bush and Barack Obama looked like when they went into office and when they came out? And I believe me, they didn't have people suing them and possibility of going to jail, all of that. Trump doesn't seem to bother him. Doesn't seem to bother him at all. So at the end of the day, where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is it amazes me, and it scares me at the same time, that there are people out there that walk around in society next to you, standing in line at the grocery store, or in line, filling their cars up with fuel, or, maybe you're parked next to them at school or whatever, that shouldn't, I guess, be allowed to be out by themselves. I feel, because if you can't see the bigger picture here and what's going on and the things that these people are doing and saying, why would you threaten the president of the United States on Twitter? Why would you do that? Happens all the time. That's insanity, folks. It's craziness. It's craziness at a level that I've never seen before. And people will tell you, no, it's always been there. It just so happens that now they have a platform. That could be accurate. But to see some of these people try to describe and explain why they feel the way they do, it's insanity. It really is. Nose rings in. I mean, I've seen some of the most horrific people as far as their facial features and things that they've done to their faces. I'm not even going to show you pictures of it. It's unbelievable. I mean, they look like demons. They really do. And I tell you what, just a piece of advice. You see a young girl with blue hair and a one of those between the little loop that comes down between her nose, stay away. Because that conversation and that encounter could go sideways big time. Yeah. So anyway, one thing I did want to talk about right quick, changing subjects here, is I'm gonna bring something up here, and I don't know if you're aware of this. Yeah, let's see here if I can find it. Her name is Virginia Giuffre, I believe was what it is. And of course, it's not going to do what I wanted to do. Let's try this. I don't know. This thing, you almost need a whole studio full of people to help you, because sometimes this gets, okay, here we go. This is the gal right here. Yeah, this is the girl. Now this, mind you, this is Prince Andrew here on the left. That's Prince Andrew, and this is Maxwell, what is it? Ghislaine Maxwell, That's Epstein's girlfriend. You see the one, the brunette back there in the white sweater. Okay, this girl in the middle was 14 years old, and this was, I believe, at Epstein Island, and her name is Virginia Giuffre. Now that was back, I guess that was in the 90s, early 2000s. Now she swears that Prince Philip was raping her on a regular basis at this place, and she sued him. There's been a lot going on with that. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, of course not. Let's see here. Yeah, Virginia Louise Giuffre is an American Australian. I think she's in Australia right now. And she is a campaigner who offers support to victims of sexual trafficking. She's a victim of the sex trafficking ring of Jeffrey Epstein. Giuffre created Victims Refuse Silence, a nonprofit based in the United States in 2015, which was relaunched under the name Speak Out, Act, Reclaim in November of 2021. She has given a detailed account to many American and British reporters about her experience of being trafficked by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, she sued him, as a matter of fact, and she sued Andrew here. Now, currently, this is interesting. Now, I don't know how this, I don't know where this story goes, and I don't know if you've heard about this, but let me see if I can bring up the next picture here, because this is, yeah, there we go. This is her currently, and it's not a pretty sight. Let's see if I can get it to come up here. Yeah, this is her now. On March, what was it, 20? Let me see if I can find it right quick. Now you got to remember, when you're messing with Prince Philip, who is he's a monarchy. He's involved in the Charles is his cousin, I believe it is. I mean, you're messing with some pretty powerful people, pretty powerful. And let's see. Oh yeah, March 31st at 2025, Giuffre said that her car collided with a bus traveling at 68 miles per hour, resulting in her going into renal failure. So apparently she's in the hospital right now, and they're saying that she has 4 days to live. Okay. Now, the Western Australian police, she lives in Australia right now, have announced that they had records of a minor crash between a bus and a car on March 24th, but there were no injuries and that had been reported as a result. Now, in her thing here, she says this year has been the worst start to a new year, but I won't bore anyone with the details. But I think it's important to note that when a school bus driver comes at you driving 110 kilometers an hour, as we were slowing for a turn, that no matter what your car is made of, it might as well be a tin can. I've gone into kidney renal failure. They've given me 4 days to live, transferring me to a specialist hospital in urology. I'm ready to go, just not until I see my babies one last time. But you know what they say about wishes. Shit in one hand and wish in the other, and I guarantee you it's still going to be shit at the end of the day. Thank you for all being here. Thank you for all being here. Now, is this accurate? I don't know. I've seen several reports on it that say that. Now, it may be true. It may not be true. I don't know why. Why would the Western Australian police not have a record of this? I find that odd. I mean, she looks terrible right there. She definitely looks like she's been in a vehicle accident. Was this an assassination attempt? Is that what this was about? Was this getting even? I don't know. It's really weird. We're going to hear more in the next few days if she survives. They say she's being moved to a new facility. Maybe she'll get a kidney transplant. I don't know what's going to happen. But it's it would not surprise me if it was an assassination attempt. It really wouldn't, because that's how evil these people are. And yet the crazies, the mentally ill that I've been talking about, they would probably applaud this. You see what I mean? Nobody uses their head anymore. There's no empathy on the left either, by the way. No empathy whatsoever. They don't care about anything but themselves. This lunatic left fringe. They don't care about anything but themselves. That's no empathy. That makes you a psychopath. It's pretty scary to think that you go out every day and meet these people. You're within their group. They're out in society, folks. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain this. And we live in the Midwest. Where I live, it's nothing like it is in the cities. It's nothing like that. I don't know how you get anybody to live in the city these days. Have you seen what's going on over in France and in England? The Muslim religion is getting ready to take over that whole society over there. And the left is applauding it. You've got people apologizing for being white. Things are crazy. Now, back to this story. Is she going to die? I don't know. I'm going to keep track of it. I'm going to let you know what I find out. It's really sad. Gets hit by a school bus. I've always made that joke. I go out and get hit by a bus. I had no idea. That can happen. That can happen. And it looks like it has happened. And I really feel sorry for this gal, because I believe her 100%. I believe she was trafficked by Epstein. I believe she was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think she was raped and sexually abused by Prince Philip. I do. And God knows how many others that Jeffrey Epstein had. So I think at some point, the Epstein list will be released. But I don't know what that'll do to the world. If no one goes to jail, what the hell difference does it make, right? We need someone to go to jail. I'm getting sick of this. I'm getting a little impatient about that. That's the only thing I'm getting impatient about. The rest of the operation that Trump's doing, I fully support. But I still want somebody in chains. So I know this has been kind of a rambling. I really didn't have any notes or anything, and I apologize for that. But I thought I wanted to put something out here because I wanted to get some of this off my chest and see if you agreed with me on this. I guess we'll see what happens. I feel sorry for this gal. I really do. She's had a tremendous, terrible, terrible time. And she doesn't look that old. So anyway, that's all I got today, folks. I will talk to you again probably in a day or two. I'm going to be gone this weekend, so I probably won't be able to do a show Friday. But we'll get back. We'll get back on a regular schedule. I got a lot of other stuff going on too. So just like everybody else does. So you don't want to hear the excuses, and I won't give you any. Okay? All right. Well, you have a good one. Peace out.